And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Welcome to Oklahoma Sportscene, statewide on Cox Cable. Is it really the halfway mark of the college football season? Hard to believe, but it's true. With that, let's take a look at the Associated Press college football rankings for this week number 7. And heading into week 8, there were 8 teams, by the way, in the top 25 losing last week, including Oklahoma. They dropped the Sooners from number 6 down to 8 spots to number 14 after that loss to Texas. The top 2 teams in this week's poll remain the same, with Ohio State number 1 with 50 first-place votes, followed by Miami and Florida with a distant 13 votes. The big surprise of the week was number 7 Indiana jumping to number 3. That's the football Hoosiers, not the basketball Hoosiers. That's a convincing 30-20 win at Oregon. The SEC has 5 teams, by the way, ranked in the top 10 right now. Number 4, Texas A&M. Ole Miss is 5th. Alabama 6, Georgia 9, and LSU 10. Other SEC-ranked teams are OU number 14, Mizzou is 16, Vanderbilt 17, and Texas back in the top 25 at number 21. Dropping out of the top 25 rankings this week, Michigan, Illinois, Arizona State, Iowa State, and Florida State. Here this past Saturday's Big Four football area results, and they weren't very good. Oklahoma, number 6 in the nation, lost to Texas 23-6 at the Cotton Bowl. Houston beat Oklahoma State 39-17. That's the 12th straight Big 12 loss for the Cowboys. Arkansas had a struggle but lost to Tennessee 34-31 in Knoxville. It was the first game under their interim head coach, Bobby Petrino. This week's schedule starts with Tulsa after an opening date. They play on Thursday night. They'll play at East Carolina. They're 16.5-point underdog. Tulsa 2-4 in the season. The Pirates 3-3. Then on Saturday, it starts in the morning at 11:45, kickoff, SEC Network. Oklahoma, 14th right now at South Carolina. Sooners 5-1. The Gamecocks 3-3. OU, by the way, a 5.5-point favorite that opened at. Number 4, Texas A&M will be at Arkansas, 2 p.m. on ESPN. A&M favored by 7.5 points. And Oklahoma State celebrates homecoming, hosting Cincinnati. The 24th ranked Bearcats are 5-1, and they're 21.5-point favorites at Stillwater. Take a look now at the guest list for this week. Former Sooner quarterback, recently retired Oklahoma City sportscaster Dean Blevins on OU's Red River rivalry, lost to Texas. Tulsa Roll sports columnist Bill Haisten gives us his insight in the Sooner Longhorn battle, and also the desperation of Oklahoma State and the latest on Coach Mike Gundy. First-year Tulsa soccer coach Luke Spencer on what's turned his team around from 10th last year to 1st in the USL Western Conference. The reigning NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder tip-off defensive title this coming Tuesday, the 21st, hosting Houston. Longtime Thunder TV reporter Steve McGehee has an inside preview. And Prep Red Zone's Michael Knight, review of week 6 of high school football across Oklahoma. But first, take a look at some more hot topics for you. The number of college football head coaches that have been fired now, getting the halfway mark of the season, has now gone up to 8. Latest big name is Penn State's James Franklin, after his preseason number 2 ranked Nittany Lions lost their 3rd straight game. And the worst was the home loss to Northwestern this past Saturday. How bad did PSU want to get rid of Franklin? James Franklin's buyout, listen to this, approximately $49.7 million. Ranks the second highest for a college football coach, just behind Jimbo Elrod's record-setting 10-year, $76.8 million buyout he got from Texas A&M. Also fired this week, Oregon State coach Trent Gray, Alabama Birmingham coach Trent Dilfer. College football has a new transfer portal window, 5 days from January 20th to 24th. That's for those players in the CFP championship game. Also be a special 15-day window opening after a new head coach is hired. This marks progress in the original transfer portal that opened and stayed open for 60 days. Thunder up, head coach Mark Dagnall begins his 6th season in OKC, and thanks to the work of Super GM Stan Presti, he does it with 15 players from last year's championship roster. The Thunder tips the regular season at home on Tuesday night, October 21st, against the Houston Rockets. They officially hoist their NBA championship banner. Kevin Durant there to watch for the Houston Rockets. Thunder TV reporter Steve McGehee joins us for a preview coming up in the show. Major League Baseball National American League Best of 7 Championship Series underway. Dodgers and the Brewers, and the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays in the American League. That goes October 21st, and it goes to a deciding 7th game. The World Series that will open on Friday the 24th of October. Could go as far as November the 1st. And how about this? The wildly popular, crazy baseball phenomenon, Banana Ball, featuring Return to Tulsa in 2026 for 3 games at One Oak Field, May 7th, 8th, and 9th. Tulsa was selected as a tour stop for the brand new Banana Ball Championship League featuring the Texas Tailgaters against the Indianapolis Clowns. But to have a chance to buy a Banana Ball ticket for the May 7th through 9th games here next spring, you must enter the ticket lottery by October 31st. Here's the website, bananaball.com/tickets. Deadline again, October 31st. FC Tulsa clinched its first Western Conference United Soccer League championship with a dominant 2-0 win over San Antonio FC this past Saturday at One Oak Field. That locks in home field advantage throughout the Western Conference playoffs for FC Tulsa. Taylor Calahera got FC Tulsa off to a fast start in the 8th minute, his 13th goal of the season. Goalkeeper Tyler Derrick made six big saves, and with defense in front of him, got his second straight shutout. FC Tulsa sealed its 15th win of the season in the 75th minute. Came a corner kick from Jamie Weber, defender of the Mira Batista, headed into the bottom left corner of the net. So we asked first-year head coach Luke Spencer just what's been the secret to this year's team success.
I think the secret would be that there's not one secret, right? I think if you make the jump from 10th place from last season to first place in the Western Conference to this season, I think a lot of things have to go into that. A lot of things have to go right. And so I think it's been a collection of things. The first thing that comes to mind is having all hands on deck. I think the people in our organization, top to bottom, have worked extremely hard. From Caleb coming in and setting the vision of our club, from bringing new players in, and just being aligned in our values. I think it starts there, but then from there it goes to working with good people who want to grow, who have something to prove, and again, who work extremely hard. So I think we're all aligned in that, but I think a lot of things have to go into the success up to this point.
This Saturday, FC Tulsa travels down to El Paso, Texas for its final road match of the regular season against El Paso Locomotive FC. Then they return to One Oak Field to end the regular season Saturday, October 25th against the Colorado Springs Switchbacks for a fan appreciation night. Next, former Sooner quarterback, recently retired Oklahoma City sportscaster Dean Blevins joins us to talk about all things Sooners, the disaster at Texas, and what he's worried about coming up in the future for OU, going to South Carolina in a must-win game, he says, this Saturday. That's next, right here on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stay with us.
Our story, it lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
The Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town, is the only place you can skate like the pros. With 2 rinks, there's always time to strap on the blades and hit the ice. The Wee Street Ice Center at 43rd and Yale is your family fun destination. Try out the game simulator rooms or hit the arcade. When you get hungry, grab a bite at Puck's Sports Bar and Grill with delicious food, great drink specials, and more. It's Midtown Tulsa's coolest entertainment center. Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town. Come get your skate on.
Thoroughbred season at Remington Park is underway with great winning action Thursday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The top Oklahoma bred runners are in the spotlight for Oklahoma Classics Night, Friday, October 17. The $1 Million Night of Stakes Racing features the best the state has to offer. The first race on Oklahoma Classics Night is 6 p.m. Visit RemingtonPark.com for all post times, group rates, and dining reservations. The best racing, simulcast racing, and nonstop jackpot casino action is at Remington Park.
Tulsa, there is nothing better than summer vibes at the ballpark with your Tulsa Drillers, sipping on a cold beer, eating a hot dog, and having a great time with family and friends. The hope of catching a home run ball or running into everyone's favorite blue bowl, Hornsby. Cool off by grabbing an ice cream or playing in the Red Diamond Splash Pad. One Oak Field has something for everyone. Tickets start at only $10. Purchase now at TulsaDrillers.com. Go all in and we'll see you at the ballpark soon.
Joining me now on Oklahoma Sportscene, longtime sportscasting colleague of mine, Dean Blevins, just retired this past year at Channel 9 in Oklahoma City. Also, of course, had a great career with Oklahoma football as a quarterback in the 70s. Dean, I got to get your take on that 23-6 beatdown Oklahoma took in the Cotton Bowl Saturday.
Well, not that they had played brilliantly, but they were about to head to halftime with the lead. And then I don't know if Kevin Wilson was expected to step up as an advisor and make head coaching calls, or get in Ben Arbuckle's ear or Brent Venables, but whoever it was completely mishandled. And they throw an interception, a desperate interception that was just sent you to the locker room down and doubting and unfocused and just without points. And from that point on, Sark really outcoached. He's calling plays and Brent's calling plays defensively. Yeah. So he was really head coach against head coach. They outcoached them. They outplayed them. And I really thought the bottom line was that one team was desperate for a win. I mean, Texas was desperate and the other was kind of preoccupied with the hype that was going on and the lack of focus. It was just distractions really centered around the health of the quarterback, and for good reason. But he was also very rusty and limited. He hadn't practiced hardly any, and I don't think he ever went good on good, as Brent Venables said that was going to happen. But Brent even said after the game his team didn't play with an edge. Now, we've been in this game forever. I don't think I've ever seen a team play Texas or Texas play Oklahoma without an edge. Yes. That is really hard to imagine, but I felt the exact same thing. I was very, very disappointed. I said going in, lastly, real quickly here, if John Mateer was healthy, started, and played well, if he was back to his old stuff, I took Oklahoma 20-17, but I think I even picked the score 19-7 Texas, if anything else was the case. And everything else was the case. He was not ready to go and probably shouldn't have played.
I was going to say, you have to admire his courage, 17 days after thumb surgery. But my gosh, not only did OU not get in the end zone, Dean, they never got across into the red zone, never got in the 20-yard line inside Texas.
Well, Ben Arbuckle is good. He's young. This is his first OU Texas game. He's the offensive coordinator. But his lack of experience showed, and a few other things showed. It was not a good. But you're also playing with. Here's a fact that Oklahoma fans have to realize. Oklahoma didn't have any. What they have? One preseason all-conference player, maybe a kicker. I don't even think R. Mason Thomas was all conference. No, it was Jaden Knott. I think they had Jaden Knott, the running back from Cal, who's come in, and he's not playing. So you look at it from a talent standpoint, Chris, Oklahoma's not anywhere close to the Oklahoma teams that you take down there and go beat Texas. We all know about the millions of dollars and the less money paid to other positions, but we hear about all these guys coming in and the hype. But talent on talent, it was a mismatch, and it is in many of the SEC games.
And in passing this game, we always found out that the team that rushes the ball better wins. OU Texas. Oklahoma had 48 yards rushing the entire game.
Well, that's the other number 1A problem. Last year, they had injuries and didn't have a lot of good players up front, and it was a disaster for the quarterback, and he didn't have the receivers. These receivers are much better than last year, but they're not anywhere close to all conference receivers. They don't have a tight end who can. Kanik is doing his best, but they don't have a tight end who can block a defensive end who weighs 40 more pounds. So they're getting killed in the tight end game. And then you go to an offensive line, Chris, that Fasusi will be a star. Hopefully it's staying with Oklahoma. He's the true freshman who's playing at left tackle. Yeah. Besides that, they're either hurt or they don't have players who are producing very well at all. And Texas brought that edge and a lot of talent to the table and dominated.
Well, Dean, your expectations going forward now, the first trip ever for Oklahoma to South Carolina. Then it's back-to-back Ole Miss and at Tennessee before an open date, and then finish up with a bunch of Tigers, Missouri and LSU at home.
Yeah. Well, this game Saturday, where they are a 4-point favorite, is an absolute must win. There's a lot of assumptions around these parts that no problem, you'll go win that game. Now, there's a problem every time right now this type of team tees it up in the SEC. They have to show a bounce back factor. That thumb, that wrist, that has to be, Chris, much, much, much better. I'm telling you, throwing a football with a bad wrist and a bad thumb is nearly impossible. And there were some ugly, ugly throws. And you got to wonder, should you play the guy? But there is a case to be made that after this weekend's game, particularly if they were to lose, that they could be an underdog in every game the rest of the season. So that's where they automatically go from an undefeated season to that.
So he was at 5-1, not quite as desperate as Oklahoma State 1-5. Your thoughts, Dean, on Mike Gundy being fired after that third game?
I've never seen anything happen so quickly, so badly.
Yeah.
It is a total disaster. I've talked to some of the money people, and they wanted Mike out. A good many of them, and the influential ones, wanted him out. You know, we can look back at revisionist history and see if that was the right thing to do. But right now, I mean, are we looking at a one-win season? It is almost impossible to believe that less than 2 years ago you're playing for the Big 8 title, Big 12 title against Texas. Bad luck at quarterback. You know, you've had you've had both of them injured now, so they got a lot of things going against them. Thank God they're not in the SEC. Is all I'll say.
So, do you know how you enjoying your retirement? I see you did not go down to Dallas right this Saturday.
Didn't go down, and I didn't think I would miss it, but I did, particularly when the Mateer thing kind of developed. You know, Chris, you want to be on hand and see how that's looking. But it's one of those things that when you lose, you wish you were back in Norman, Oklahoma City, or Tulsa, right? You don't want to take that drive back. So I was glad from that standpoint that I was back home.
You know, thanks again for taking the time. Always good to visit with you and get your perspective. And let's hope we get these Sooners going again.
Hey, I hear you. It's not over. I'm just trying to throw some facts out there for our listeners and to take in.
Dean Blevins, we come back with somebody else with facts. Bill Haisten, sports columnist of Tulsa World, has his take on OU Texas and Oklahoma State when we get back.
The Tulsa Whalers are fresh off another playoff season. Don't let the ice cool down. Get your season tickets now for next year and save big. Season tickets start as low as $19 per month. Get your tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets are available now starting at only $19 per month. TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
The Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town, is the only place you can skate like the pros. With 2 rinks, there's always time to strap on the blades and hit the ice. The Wee Street Ice Center at 43rd and Yale is your family fun destination. Try out the game simulator rooms or hit the arcade. When you get hungry, grab a bite at Puck's Sports Bar and Grill with delicious food, great drink specials, and more. It's Midtown Tulsa's coolest entertainment center. Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town. Come get your skate on.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
And we're joined now by regular contributor to Oklahoma Sportscene, our good friend Bill Haisten, senior columnist, sports columnist for Tulsa World. Bill, all the Sooner fans are asking the question. I'll ask you, what happened and why did it happen?
At the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah.
Wow. So I did a little bit of numbers crunching, Chris, before we hooked up here. So on 56 occasions in OU football history, somebody ran for 200 yards. Okay. And 577 occasions in OU football history, somebody ran for at least 100 yards. 577 times, right? So over the last season and a half, there's been only two 100-yard rushing performances. Javante Barnes against Maine. I think Chris Lincoln could get 100 yards against Maine, but and then Xavier Robinson against Bama, and that's it. That is it. Over a season and a full season and a half now, two 100-yard games. OU is 106th in the country rushing the football. OU is 3 spots behind Oklahoma State, and this is the worst Oklahoma State team of all time.
Yeah.
All time. So I'm just astounded at OU's lack of the kind of balance that you need to win close games and control games and run clock. And what was it against Texas, Chris? From the running backs, Oklahoma got 42 yards of running the football, 42 yards, 2.8 per attempt. That ain't good enough. And you got a quarterback who more than ever coming off the hand situation, well, still dealing with the hand situation. You've got to provide some run game support and take the pressure off of him. And Oklahoma runs the football for 42 yards, 2.8 per attempt. It's just crazy. We're at the midway mark of this season, and OU's leading rusher doesn't even have 300 yards for the season. And this is a program that's what I count 40 different times they've gotten a 1,000-yard rusher in program history. 40 times, and you're not even at 300 yet at this midseason mark. So I don't know, 7 years ago, 7 years ago, man, if you recall those offensive lines, Chris, all those guys went on to play in the league.
Yeah.
In the NFL, all of them, and tremendous, the best collection of offensive linemen I've ever seen at the college level, and the OU had that balance, dynamic throwing games with Kyler Murray, Baker, Mayfield, and then even Hurts was an effective thrower in that offense, but they still had 1,000-yard rushers in those seasons, so there was that balance. Lincoln Riley catches a lot of heat from OU fans. And for the most part, deservedly so. But he did offensively. He had a pretty good, pass balance. And man, until they get that restored, and I don't get this. I don't understand how you have an off season to address this, and you're worse this season than you were a year before. So to me, that was I mean, you could look at the Texas side of it and see what they did well or what they did better in the second half and so on. And Arch Manning did hit a nice percentage of his throws. And the only public prediction I went with was with Pat Jones on the radio last week. And I picked Texas because of the desperation component, because Texas's season would have been really damaged. Whereas OU went in with a perfect record. So, but OU's inability to get anything going with their running backs blows my mind, because I'm of an age, I remember watching the greatest of the greats in option football history was in Norman. And of course, you didn't throw it much then, but you didn't have to. And so, I'm astounded that that Oklahoma is this poor, this weak, with their run game, because I mean, to be a true contender, I think for the national championship, you've got to have that balance. You've got to be able to get some run game productivity to counter what you get from John Mateer, and to take some pressure off of Mateer.
Well, this is 5-1. You were at Oklahoma State this past weekend, and Cowboys 1-5. It just sounds desperate. Give me an update on how things are in Stillwater, Bill.
Well, I mean, it's okay to be desperate. They just don't have the roster to do anything about it. They can be as angry or desperate or whatever or determined as they want to be, they just don't have the ability to do anything about it. It's a terrible roster. And like I wrote for the Sunday Tulsa World, obviously these guys are athletic guys. They would not be on an FBS roster if they weren't athletic. But for whatever reason, man, they brought in these 60-something new players and mistakes were made in evaluation. It's obvious because they're terrible. I mean, they are terrible. They've given up now, Chris, and let me think about this. 11 consecutive conference games. They've given up at least 38 points. That's nuts. So there's the combination of some lousy evaluation on guys who were brought in as transfers and then just obviously terrible chemistry behind the scenes, on the field, whatever. It's a bad chemistry and a gruesomely bad football team.
Well, let's look back at this past weekend. We don't really want to. We got a shutout. Oklahoma loses to Texas 23-6. Houston beats up Oklahoma State 39-17. Arkansas fought but lost to Tennessee on the road 34-31. Tell us the week off. Hand us your grades for those three teams.
Okay, my grade for the Sooners in the Cotton Bowl, I would give the Sooners a C. It was they went into the half with the lead, but it felt very shaky. And I felt like Sarkisian and his staff kind of had the upper hand with regard to strategy and coaching in that game, and felt like Texas capitalized on whatever edge they may have had with regard to desperation and not wanting to get that another loss. And so I would give, and maybe C is a little generous, though if you reflect back on the number I recited on run yards from the running backs, 42 yards, less than 3 per attempt. So yeah, it's a C minus for the Sooners. Oklahoma State, Doug Meacham gets an A for effort and for creativity and for trying to score. And they did score on a trick play right out of the gate. But on the whole, it's another solid F for the Cowboys, and there's several more Fs to come down the stretch. And then Arkansas, I give Arkansas an A minus for effort. They're kind of reeling, and they're like Oklahoma State. They're with an interim coach, although isn't that an odd situation to have an interim coach who was the former head coach there? But Arkansas on the right Saturday, Arkansas can stress or beat just about anybody, and they nearly beat a good Tennessee team. And is there another grade I need to get?
No, that was it. Tulsa was off, so
of course. TU has a short week this week against East Carolina on Thursday night. That's right.
Thursday night. Got to ask you too. Nobody was closer to Mike Gundy than you were all over the years. I was just kind of wondering if you had a chance to reconnect with Coach, or what Mike's doing now, and how things are in Stillwater for Coach Gundy.
Well, so I haven't talked with him yet. As what it was expressed to me was that Mike eventually is going to do some sit downs, but that he's not ready yet, and he wants another week or 2 or 3 maybe, and it may be more than that, I don't know, but I expect to have a sit down with Mike at some point soon. It's not like he's just hiding at home. I mean, his son is on the Stillwater High School football staff, Gage Gundy, former Stillwater High School state champion quarterback.
Yeah.
And so Mike has there've been a lot of sightings of Mike at those Stillwater practices, sightings at the grocery store. Mike's out and about and doing his thing, but I'm sure he's every emotion imaginable, he feels it. He's angry and he's disappointed and he's heartbroken and he's angry. But I mean, it just kind of felt like the more I think about it, the way things went down in December, probably that was the right time for these two parties to separate. Would have been in December, because Mike came into this year, I think, mad at Oklahoma State, and I think we came into this year with Oklahoma State mad at Mike Gundy, and I just didn't feel like it was going to click. And I wrote several times that this would be Mike's final season, but I didn't see it coming, and on the 23rd of September.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. But no, Mike, by what I hear is that he's in good spirits and he's, going to football practices and watching his son coach and kind of just getting his bearings, from a crazy situation.
Bill, who would have thought halfway through this college football season, we're thinking about basketball now. That means the Oklahoma City Thunder start the season Tuesday as the reigning NBA champions.
Yeah, I think I counted it was only from the time that camp opened, from the time that the finals ended until camp opened, it was only like 98 days. And it's crazy. I mean, that is a super, super short off season. But, if this were a team of a bunch of guys in their late 20s, early 30s, I would be concerned about it because that is a gruesomely stressful season. By the time you factor in, it's well over 100 games, including the playoffs. And if you make that deep a run, and yet Oklahoma City comes back with still, the second youngest roster in the league. But that much better, that much tougher from having experienced that deep playoff run and you open up against Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets. How about that, having Kevin Durant back in that building for the night your guys get their rings? I think that's kind of amazing. I mean, last year I picked Oklahoma City, believe it or not, Chris, to finish third in the West. And the reason I did was the year before they were the healthiest team in the league. And I said, that won't happen again. The law of averages says they'll have some injuries.
Yeah.
And they'll lose a few games. And I had them at 53 wins last year going into the season. Well, they did have the injuries, had a lot of injuries. They had 30 starting lineups during the seasim, 30 of them. That's crazy. And yet they won 68 times. So, I'm fully expecting Oklahoma City to win the West. Even if there are injuries, if you tell me Shea might miss a few games, then that might change my prediction. But a healthy Shea with just about any combination of other available guys, J-Dub's pretty important too. But they're going to win the West again, but it will not be easy. And I don't see them winning 68 again, but I do see them winning the West again.
Thank you, Bill. Bill Haisten, Sports Columnist, Tulsa World. Always great to have you join us. And by the way, we're going to continue this Thunder conversation with Steve McGehee, the guy who travels with all the games with him.
Iron Man.
Oklahoma City is, wow, what a schedule. Right back with Steve McGehee and more Thunder basketball.
The Tulsa Whalers are fresh off another playoff season. Don't let the ice cool down. Get your season tickets now for next year and save big. Season tickets start as low as $19 per month. Get your tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets are available now starting at only $19 per month. TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
Our story, it lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
The Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town, is the only place you can skate like the pros. With 2 rinks, there's always time to strap on the blades and hit the ice. The Wee Street Ice Center at 43rd and Yale is your family fun destination. Try out the game simulator rooms or hit the arcade. When you get hungry, grab a bite at Puck's Sports Bar and Grill with delicious food, great drink specials, and more. It's Midtown Tulsa's coolest entertainment center. Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town. Come get your skate on.
For the 11th year, home and away, Steve McGehee of KWTV Channel 9, Oklahoma City, is on the Oklahoma City Thunder sidelines, giving us great reports throughout the year. Again, Steve, congratulations on a heck of a championship season. Tell us some, before we go ahead, let's look back a bit. What a run that was last year for the Thunder.
Well, the season, Chris, got over, 2 days ago? 3 days ago? That's what it feels like. We were in Charleston, South Carolina for the first preseason game last weekend. And first quarter, I'm like going, this feels like a continuation of last year. Just because even though the stars were not there, just the way they played on offense and on defense, scoring points, getting steals, I'm like, this team didn't miss a beat. I mean, they just kind of picked up where they left off. But that was an incredible ride last year. You forget how much of a grind it is when you get to the playoffs because it's nonstop. And so I was really happy that they won in 5 games against Minnesota to get a couple of days day break because I knew I thought the Indiana series would go 7, and it did. But a lot of things have to go right to win an NBA championship, and things went right for the Thunder. They did get some, unfortunate that Jalen Williams hurt his wrist in the game in Phoenix right before the season ended, but they kept it pretty quiet and he was able to play through it and then, of course, have wrist surgery in the offseason. So, he played hurt down the stretch, even though it didn't show with his ability. The Thunder didn't shoot very well in the playoffs. That didn't seem to hurt him. And I think that win over Denver, Game 7 in the semifinals, I think that's what put them over the top confidence-wise, that they could win it all this year. So when they lost to Indiana on that last second shot by Halliburton on Game 1, they had something, they saw that with Aaron Gordon in Denver, and so that really helped them win that title. And home court advantage is everything in the playoffs. You got to play for that best record, because if they didn't have home court advantage in the Denver series or in the Indiana series, I don't think we're talking about a championship. But it was a great season. It was amazing. When they won at Denver to open up the year, that's when I thought this team has a chance. They have to stay healthy. And they were playing that day without Hartenstein and no J. Will. And then Chet goes down for more than 2 months. Right. A.J. Mitchell gets hurt, comes back late, but it was hard to get him back, in rhythm. So I'm anxious to see what he does this year. But incredible. They had to deal with injuries last year, and they still won it all. Impressive year.
And the season highlights last year had to be 68-14, best record in basketball. And what a downer for the team's point differential was the largest in NBA history, 12.9 points per game. And, of course, they had the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep. That was the thing when they got to the playoffs in these closer games. They weren't used to playing in close games because they were beating everybody by 10-plus points, but they figured it out. But Shai nailed last season. I mean, he did everything right on and off the court. It's just amazing how he's able to, he represents himself. He has a line out there with Converse. He can score. MVP in the Western Conference Finals, MVP in the NBA Finals, just a great person on and off the court. The Thunder, that trade with Clippers set up this franchise for a long time from here on out. But it's just he's a perfect player you want on your team. He's a perfect role model. No problems with the Thunder at all, on or off the court. These guys get together and they love each other.
Yeah, it looks like it, Steve. It comes off like almost a college basketball team with these guys get together with each other.
Yeah, they're not a big let's go out late and hang out, and try to get in some trouble. That is not this team. I've been told that there's nothing wrong with it, that this team loves to shop online and play video games. So there's no concerns. And, that team 10, 12 years ago with those guys like to stay out late, and have a good time. And that's their prerogative to do that. But this team is more grounded. They kind of hold everyone accountable. There's no arguing. And, every team out there, not named the Oklahoma City Thunder, wants to be like OKC this year, moving forward with great defense and just great team chemistry.
Sam Presti's just incredible. Besides getting the championship, he got everybody re-signed too, and the future looks great for this franchise.
Yeah, I'm not an accountant, but he has all the numbers up there trying to figure it out. Okay, what's this look like in 28, in 29, and 30? And, his thing is, we don't even know what the new collective bargaining agreement is. We don't know where the money's going to be at. So they're going to be fine for a while. And it helps that this is something they didn't have with when they had Harden, Westbrook, and Durant is like they were drafting low.
Yeah.
Down there 20s, 21, 22. And those are hard to get, impactful players. But they have a chance here to have another top 10 pick this year. They had Topic at number 10 2 years ago. And then they had Sorber at number 15 this past summer. But there's enough draft picks that they may be picking high again over the next couple of years, and that'll help fill the role as they try to get players on lower contracts and may have to say goodbye to somebody making 20 plus million just because of the first apron and the second apron. But I don't want to get into the numbers, but Sam knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's not just kind of going out there and making moves. He's looking ahead, far ahead to see what this team looks like in 4 to 5 years.
Speaking of looking far ahead, boy, that new arena looks to be exciting. Going to be a great thing in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. It's right across the street from where we work. And so every day you see a little bit more gone from the old Marriott Center. Just a little bit more, but it's a slow process. They had to get all the inside out first, and now they're starting to tear down from the southwest corner across the street from Paycom. But it does look nice with all the glass. I'm really, that's what they're hoping to build with the pictures we saw. So hopefully it comes to fruition. They're able to get exactly what they want. But it's going to be nice. It's going to be beautiful. That's just the way it is in arenas, in baseball stadiums, and football stadiums. Sure. You got about a 25 to 30 year lifespan, and then we need something else.
When's it supposed to open?
The 28th season, or maybe the 29.
Okay.
That's a good, that's too far. I can't look that far ahead.
I heard the other night talking on the Blitz, and I agree with you. 6 NBA preseason games is too many.
Oh, I was asking, I don't know if I'll keep it. I asked them, that was my first question. I'm like, who scheduled 6 preseason games? Because they were usually playing 4, and I think that's enough. And it's kind of they're going to do what they got to do, schedule games. I guess it's. From what I was told, it's not easy to schedule preseason games. I know there's a lot of, discussion like, why aren't they playing in Tulsa? It's not like they didn't want to play in Tulsa. It's just they couldn't match up with another team to do that. Yeah. To get the Charlotte Hornets to come to Paycom, they had to go play in Charleston. Like, hey, you scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. That's how it kind of works. So, and then the Mavericks, that had to work up as well, playing one in Fort Worth. So it's just weird that they played 6, and then also they started off with back-to-back on the road to start the preseason. So I don't blame the starters staying home at all. They just wrapped up this season. We know what they can do as a team. So, and they only had 2 games at home. That's weird. 2 out of the 6 are in Oklahoma, and everything else is on the road. It's just hard to figure out.
Well, Steve, have a great season. All you got is now, 41 road trips ahead of you. And, of course, even more with the playoffs going into late June sometimes. But do a great job. And thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene, and we'll keep you updated during the season.
All right. Take care, Chris. See you.
All right. Back with more on Oklahoma Sports Scene. I'll have to take this time out.
Tulsa, there is nothing better than summer vibes at the ballpark with your Tulsa Drillers. Sipping on a cold beer, eating a hot dog, and having a great time with family and friends. The hope of catching a home run ball or running into everyone's favorite blue bowl, Hornsby. Cool off by grabbing an ice cream or playing in the Red Diamond Splash Pad. One Oak Field has something for everyone. Tickets start at only $10. Purchase now at TulsaDrillers.com. Go all in and we'll see you at the ballpark soon.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
The Tulsa Whalers are fresh off another playoff season. Don't let the ice cool down. Get your season tickets now for next year and save big. Season tickets start as low as $19 per month. Get your tickets at TulsaWhalers.com. That's TulsaWhalers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets are available now starting at only $19 per month. TulsaWhalers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Whalers hockey.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Back on Oklahoma Sports Scene, the second half of the high school football season in Oklahoma is underway. Michael Knight has a recap of week number 7. Michael starts with an incredible performance by K.D. Jones at Jenks High School.
Yeah, they had a game against Mustang on Friday night, and Katie came into the night needing a couple touchdowns to set the all-time career touchdown record at Jenks, and he got more than a couple. He finished with 8 touchdowns on the night, which ended up being a single game record. He ran for nearly 450 yards, another single game record. I think he finished with over 500 yards of all-purpose yards, another record. So it was without a doubt a record-breaking night for K.D. Jones, who, in my opinion, is the best running back in the state of Oklahoma, and it's been that way for a while now. And what a great way for Jayhawk fans to celebrate 24 hours after K.D. announced that he was committing to Kansas. He comes out and has a record-breaking performance like that.
A decommitment from Oklahoma State. What a tragedy for the Cowboys, but I hate to see K.D. leaving the state. Of course, he's an Oklahoma legacy, but I guess the Jayhawks have something that the players can't say no to: NIL money.
Yeah, and look, I mean, it's Kansas has done a really good job of recruiting Oklahoma. It's been a high priority for them, and so in the case of KD, I'm not going to speak for him. I don't know that it was solely based on that, but they've also done a really good job of developing running backs. I mean, they've had a really good run over the last 5, 6, 7 years of developing guys at the running back position. So obviously money has something to do with it. It has something to do with it for every elite prospect, and KD is exactly that. So, I don't think the story's necessarily over until he finally signs, a piece of paper in December and enrolls at his future school. But there's no doubt that whoever lands him is landing the best running back in Oklahoma.
And a battle of 5A unbeatens was a headline story as well.
Yeah, Pryor and Claremore, 2 teams that were 5-0 going into last week. 2 teams that do things in different ways, with Pryor throwing the ball all over the field, Claremore running the ball all over the field. Both teams have looked great so far this season. Huge win for Pryor. I think it's a statement win for the Tigers when they beat Claremore 51-20. Now that's a district that is, also features Del City, that also features Collinsville. So there's still plenty of work to do for both teams moving forward. But for Pryor, that's a huge step towards potentially winning the district championship. And if you're able to do that, you could set yourself up for a run to make it to the state championship game in December.
And Michael, you made the long drive from eastern Oklahoma all the way out to the panhandle of Oklahoma. Why was that?
Yeah, 5.5 hours in the car. This is my second straight year driving out to Hooker, Oklahoma. And if I make it a third, I might start looking at property out there just to make it a little easier on me moving forward. But, no, it was a big game between Hooker and Cashin. Cashin was undefeated coming into that matchup. Hooker obviously coming off of 2 straight trips to the state championship game in their class. And it was a big win for Hooker. Keelan Robinson, the star of the night, as he ran for 6 touchdowns from the quarterback position. His backfield mate, Justin Palacios, a junior running back, he also ran for over 200 yards, but Keelan took up all the touchdowns. Keelan finished with 6. Justin only had 1, but both of them finished with over 200 yards rushing. So it was a big night out in the Panhandle. It was a fun night of football, long drive home, but it was a good opportunity to see 2 top 5 teams in that class that, both have state championship aspirations.
A2 had a top 5 class matchup as well.
Yeah, you had Hominy taking on Woodland, and that's become one of the marquee rivalry matchups in that class. Woodland got the best of Hominy last year before Hominy got the best of Woodland, so that's a series that's been going back and forth. Obviously, both teams top 5, as you mentioned. Both teams expect to contend for the state championship. Woodland just won the state championship a year ago. That game was close at halftime. It was 8-6, Woodland on top, but Hominy able to dominate the second half and run away with a huge 32-16 victory over Woodland. And that really sets them up moving forward to potentially win the district championship. And like I said, make that deep run in November and December.
Both high school football games this week with all the fall breaks happening on Thursday. Edmond Memorial at Owasso, Washington, and Marlow. But where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in Stillwater as the Pioneers host Choctaw, another top 5 matchup. You have Stillwater. Their only loss on the season is to Carl Albert on the road, and a tough one there. And then for Choctaw, don't let the record fool you. They're 3-3 on the season, but 2 of those losses, one of them to Bixby, one of them to one of the top teams in Kansas. So that's a team that obviously is the defending state champion in 6A2. They have an opportunity to really make a statement. They lost a tough one to Putnam City a couple weeks ago, so their backs are kind of against the wall in this, as Choctaw can't afford another district loss. Otherwise, they're going to have a much more difficult path in the playoffs. And for Stillwater, this is the first game of several going down the stretch where you got to win in order to capture that district title. Two very good offenses. I'm expecting quite a show from both teams. It should be a fun one out in Stillwater on Thursday night. And you mentioned, the Emma Memorial Owasso game. That's a clash of styles where Emma Memorial, in my opinion, has one of the better defenses in 6A1. Their front seven is nasty, and they're going up against an Owasso team that has a very high-powered offense. They can throw it all over the field. And then you also mentioned that another top 5 matchup in 2A1, defending champion Washington taking on Marlowe. That's a game between two teams that expect to be right in the mix again for a state championship in December.
Mac, I look forward to your report next week. All the highlights of Week 6 of high school football in Oklahoma. We're going to come back with some big news from Remington Park. They'll preview the Oklahoma Classics night coming up in the track this weekend.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Our story. It lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Tulsa, there is nothing better than summer vibes at the ballpark with your Tulsa Drillers, sipping on a cold beer, eating a hot dog, and having a great time with family and friends. The hope of catching a home run ball or running into everyone's favorite blue bowl, Hornsby. Cool off by grabbing an ice cream or playing in the Red Diamond Splash Pad. One Oak Field has something for everyone. Tickets start at only $10. Purchase now at tulsadrillers.com. Go all in and we'll see you at the ballpark soon.
The 33rd Oklahoma Classics is featured on Friday, October 17th. Let's take a look at a couple of top runners on the big $1 million night for Oklahoma breds. The richest race on Classics night, the $175,000 Classics Cup, has Mr. Omaha's, the 9-5 morning line favorite. He could be very tough on his return to Oklahoma Bred Company off a solid third-place run in the Grade 3 $400,000 Oklahoma Derby behind the winner Bracket Buster on September 28th. Two-time horse of the meeting, Miss Code West, will be back for an attempt to win her third different Oklahoma Classics race. This time she'll go on the $130,000 Classics Distaff Turf. Recently, Miss Code West was sharp in the Bob Berry Memorial over turf in early September. Half mile to go in the Bob Berry. It's still Take Me Serious on the front. Pressed all the way by Miss Code West, only a head back now as they go to the far turn. Do you want to dance? 3 back as they go to the turn in third, a half length better than Talking Katie. And then Nice Neighbor is wide, but trying to advance fifth. Maybe Dulce asked for run now, only about 6 back and starting to go with a quarter mile left in the Bob Berry. Off the turn, top of the stretch, inside Take Me Serious, outside Miss Code West. Race on! Just over a furlong to go. Miss Code West trying to get by, running a much better race tonight. Take Me Serious digging in on the inside. They're 4 clear of any other rival. Maybe Dulce trying to move up third. Miss Code West by ahead. Take Me Serious looking for an answer. Miss Code West. On the milestone front, jockey Luis Quinones, second all-time in Remington Park wins, reached win number 1,500 locally when he scored on Icy River on October 4th. Tisha, Cattail Sky still inside and still trailing with a quarter mile to go. Shopping Accident still up front. Icy River trying to bear down, trying to pick a lane and goes outside as they reach the top of the stretch. This pair 5 or 6 clear of the rest. It's Shopping Accident on top by 2. Icy River and Louis Q bearing down, trying to get within a length. Back to the next group, Marquette Warrior and Mola Mia. Here comes Icy River, full of run. Icy River, ice cold and cool, passing Shopping Accident. Icy River will get it done for Luis Quinones by a length and a half. Louis Q now joins Cliff Berry as the only jockeys to reach 1,500 wins in Remington Park history. Remington Park Racing continues October 16th through 18th. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. First race is 6 p.m. Central. Don't forget, Oklahoma Classics Friday, October 17th. Big events along with the big racing, including the whiskey tasting event, the boots, bolos, and hat style contest, and more. You can find all the information on the events on a Classics night at remingtonpark.com. In Oklahoma City at Remington Park, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sports Scene.
And history was made at Remington Park this past Saturday as Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen became the first North American trainer ever to win 11,000 career races. He did it with a 3-win night on Saturday night, his son Eric riding all 3 of his horses. By the way, the horse that got him that 11,000th win, owned by Tulsa's famed attorney Clark Brewster, winning his second winningest order, Remington Park history. Clark's going to be inducted in the Oklahoma Horse Racing Hall of Fame later this year. We're back to wrap things up after we take this final break.
Thoroughbred season at Remington Park is underway with great winning action Thursday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The top Oklahoma bred runners are in the spotlight for Oklahoma Classics Night, Friday, October 17th. The $1 Million Night of Stakes Racing features the best the state has to offer. The first race on Oklahoma Classics Night is 6 p.m. Visit remingtonpark.com for all post times, group rates, and dining reservations. The best racing, simulcast racing, and nonstop jackpot casino action is at Remington Park.
Our story. It lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Tulsa, there is nothing better than summer vibes at the ballpark with your Tulsa Drillers, sipping on a cold beer, eating a hot dog, and having a great time with family and friends. The hope of catching a home run ball or running into everyone's favorite blue bowl, Hornsby. Cool off by grabbing an ice cream or playing in the Red Diamond Splash Pad. One Oak Field has something for everyone. Tickets start at only $10. Purchase now at tulsadrillers.com. Go all in and we'll see you at the ballpark soon.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Next week, we'll talk Big Four football, wrapping up the week's games, and also look into some baseball action. Bob Carpenter, legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster, is going to join us, talk about his great career. They just wound up with the Washington Nationals, talk about the World Series coming up. And we'll have also Mike Maliga wrapping up the Tulsa Drillers Texas League season to look ahead to 2016. Michael Ladd, of course, back here with Prep Football's big games of the week. All that coming up next week on Oklahoma Sports Scene, so be sure to join us. And as we always remind you on Oklahoma Sports Scene, be a good sport.